So in this video I'm going to make a stand similar to the one the Shockwave's standing on at the moment. So I just need to get a template so it will fit in this display area here. So I'm just going to move sound wave out the way. And Shockwave. So here's the stand that we're looking at. So it's got a bit more of a kind of a, I suppose, a futuristic or kind of alien technology feel to it. So I'm just going to put that back in place. And I'm just going to take an old bit of just kind of scrap paper from a printer, put that underneath. So you can see I've marked out my shape here. So I'm just going to check the size of sound wave next to it. Yeah, that works fine. Okay, so I've cut out my template that I drew around earlier just to get the size for the display area. I've got the markings from Soundwave's feet, and I'll just put a line here which would be I suppose the first cut. So this bit I want to remain flat, as that's where the figure will stand. Then from here kind of to the end I can start to add some other details and make kind of some steps, a bit like what you see here. So this kind of detailing parts at the back, I could start to add some of that into the back of the smaller version. So I've then transferred the template to my styrofoam. You can see I've just put two little marks on either side where the line would be, and then I've joined that up with a pen, and then I've also marked in again that kind of zigzag shape that you see on the original design here, because I want them to kind of complement one another. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to switch on the electric foam cutter, and there is a video about that already on the channel. So if you haven't used an electric foam cutter before, you don't know what one is, or you want to order one, then there's a video going through these tools in a little bit more detail. So that should warm up quite quickly. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to kind of cut out the main shape. You could do this with a knife, but it would be quite tricky. So I'm just going to kind of cut parts off. You tend to have to go quite slowly, otherwise you'll bend the wire. So I'm just going to kind of take off the edge here, so that's going to be more curved, like what you see at the front there. And we'll also get rid of that little mistake there, which is a good idea. So go nice and slow. You can see how it pulls the wire, and if you do that too much, you can end up breaking it, so we don't want to do that. Now I don't want to go into this area here too much, because that's where Soundwave's going to stand, so I need to be careful of how much of that I'm taking off. And so what I want to do is I'm going to leave quite a good stretch here, so it's got lots of balance, but then I'm just going to kind of curve that around to the other side. You don't have to draw a line first, it's up to you. So I'm going to start from the bottom, and then I'm going to drag up. and just take off as much as you want really until you're happy with what you've got. So I think I've got enough there to get started really with the knife. I don't think I want to take too much more off with the electric foam cutter because I need to be a bit more careful with the details. So I moved to a bigger space just so I can do the next part of this base. So you can see I've used the tool cutter, I've cut out the main shape, so hopefully you can see that a little bit better. It's very rough and ready, as you can tell, but that's absolutely fine. But it's sturdy enough to hold my figure, which is what I want, and that's the key. Okay, we don't want it to topple over. So what I'm going to do first is I'm just going to score and draw out the rest of the detailing, so I can try and get this step effect that you can see on this part here. So I'm going to take the ruler and I'm just going to kind of mark out, just to kind of cut probably 2 more angles. So just rough that out first of all. You see those lines there, and I'm just going to neaten those up with a ruler. So I'm just doing this by eye. I just wanted them to kind of taper out a little bit, so I just think that kind of adds a bit more shape to it. And then I want to emulate this kind of pattern. So where we've got this line, this kind of zigzag, so I want to do that again. So I'm just thinking, if I kind of draw roughly a curve there, kind of follows the shape of this outward curve, going from that very bottom point, that will help me to know where to place these lines here. So I'm just adding some diagonal lines, and then I want to join that up to the end. So you're just kind of creating this kind of step effect that you can see on there. So if I just bring that a bit closer, you can see that shape. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. So what I'm going to do next is I'm just going to make a cut into the lines I want to keep. So I'm just going to kind of sharpen my knife, and then I'm just going to draw a line. So obviously I'm stopping where this diagonal line is here, so I can follow that line. I don't want to follow all of the, I suppose, the kind of the sketchy lines. I want to just go over the lines I want to keep. You probably can't see it very well, so all I've done is I've gone over these lines here, so those kind of 3 steps, and then I can start to create this kind of tapered effect now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to carve at an angle, so I'm going to try and cut into the line that I've already just made. So I've made this cut here that's going straight down, but then I want to cut at an angle. So you have to do this a little bit at a time. So if you can see that there, I'll turn that around, you've got that kind of little ridge now. So I'm just going to go in at an angle. And as I said, you'll have to do this in parts. And you can always go a bit deeper later on if you need to. So you don't want to go too deep, but you do want to make sure your cut goes right to the edge of that line that you cut in the first place. So what you can start to see, just move that bit off, is this kind of step there that you're starting to create. Of course, at the moment, again, it's a little bit rough, it's a bit messy, so we just want to kind of create more of a gradation. So this is where the files come in. So I'm just going to get this kind of larger of the small files. trying to do is to make that edge there more of a diagonal, so whereas before it was kind of going flat and then dig it in where I cut it with the knife. I want that to be, as I said, more of a gradation. So just to bring this a bit closer here, so you're moving at the angle of the line that you originally cut. So you're trying to get into those kind of areas. Okay, so you can see I've started to get some of those steps in place. It's still not really tidy, and that's okay, don't be put off by that. This is just to get these the initial form, if you like, to the whole piece. So what I need to do now is to start to curve the bottom, and also to continue these steps around the edge, but I'm just going to flatten the bottom out first. Yeah, that's looking a bit better. So you can see that's got a nicer shape to it. So I'm just going to mark out with a felt tip pen where these lines will continue. So I'm going again from the step that I've already made straight down. And the same on the other side as well. You can use a ruler for this if you want to, it's up to you. And then I want to join those lines together, so this is where it is useful to just make sure you have a ruler at hand. So I just need to line up lines on this side and lines on this side. There. And then it's the last one. Okay, so you can see continue those lines around the side, across the bottom and up the other side. Now just like we did before, we're just going to kind of create a step. You could just use the file to do that. So if you wanted to, you could just start on the line to make a groove. Continue to kind of file that down just so it kind of continues that step kind of formation. Or if it's easier, use the method we used before, which is where we cut into where we've marked with the pen, and then again use the knife to kind of just dig out part of that. So I might do that here as well, just to make that a little bit deeper. And then you would do the same across the bottom. So the only one I'm not going to cut into is this bit here, because this is on the main part of the base, so you're not actually going to see that from the side. So I'm going to leave that one and move on to the second line here. So I've got this kind of rough cut, but you can see now how it's forming that shape. That kind of ties in with the original one here. So because this is more I suppose a bit like a horn kind of shape. That's how you kind of get this kind of effect on the end here. So it really depends on, yeah, how you want your initial shape to be. So this one's not quite as curved as that, but it will tie in when it's finished. So what I need to do now is just to kind of smooth off the edge here, because you can still see the cut from the foam cutter. So again, just using the files and then the sandpaper on top. Just file that down a little bit. It still needs some more work, but you can see now I've got the basic shape. So I'm going to stop the video. I'm going to kind of neaten that up a little bit, just using different grades of sandpaper over the top, just to kind of get that looking a bit better, a bit smoother and a bit more uniform. Okay, so I've cleaned up the base a little bit more. Still needs a bit more work, a little bit more checking in places, which is fine. You can keep working back to this. But I want to show you in the next step. So we're now going to add some of the details. So like these areas you can see here. So when I added the detail on this larger piece, I used the electric foam cutter, the 2 rods that you get with it. But I found that because you get this kind of melted area around the rod, you find that it kind of cuts a little bit too deep. So one of the best things you can use is actually just a blunt pencil. So I'm just marking out where I want my patterns to be. And with this particular design, and of course you might do a different design than what I'm doing here, I found it easier just to kind of mark in where those diagonals are. So I've just left probably, yeah, just over ½ centimetre gap from the edge. So in fact, if I just draw a line on there, I don't know if you can see that a bit better now. So that line there is the edge, that's the cut edge. And I've left a little bit of a gap, and I've kind of copied that shape in the middle here, and I've done that on each one and down here. And of course I've then extended this down. So I'm going to do the same, making sure that these areas here, so this line kind of joins up to this line here. So you can again use a ruler if it helps. So I tend to just kind of pick up my pen, I suppose, away from the styrofoam and just kind of get the shape, kind of move it backwards and forwards, and then kind of lower it as I'm kind of happy with where it is. So it kind of follows that shape, and then I want to continue this down here. And again, if you feel more comfortable using a ruler, you can do that. It's up to you. But I just think that just makes it look a little bit more interesting. And then on the final one, at the top here, I'm just going to add a zigzag just to finish that off. And then I'm simply just going to dig into the styrofoam where I've already marked it. So just using the blunt pencil, just small marks. But you'll find you get a nicer cut. I don't know if you can see the groove in the end there. So do the same on the next bit. So there we have pretty much a kind of futuristic alien kind of base. And then when this goes on my shelf, this will kind of match up a little bit, so actually it's that way. So you can see the two curves kind of complement one another, and that's the idea, so they will kind of fit next to one another. And that's it. So the next job really is to just finish off smoothing this down. I could add some more details like I've done here on the side of this one, using the same method, mark it out, use a pencil, and then base coat and paint it up. I use metallic paints on this, and I'll do another video showing you how I paint this up. Okay, thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, spread the word. If you're interested in making these bases for your transformers, the more people that know about that, the better. And please feel free to make suggestions as well. I'd love to hear your feedback. If you want me to tackle a project and do something different, then let me know, and I'll have a go. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.